popular guy. I know there were some reports that you had met up with DJU prior to him coming in here. Just what was your first impressions of him, and what was that meeting like?
Sure, really mature. He had the character and the personality of somebody that fits our program. Somebody that can add immediate value to the quarterback room, and that's even just stripping away the physical ability he has, just the way that he interacted with me. You can tell he's a charismatic guy that cared about relationships, and ultimately those are the type of kids that we want to bring here.
To be able to plug in a guy who is just a veteran leader in that quarterback room, obviously those guys learned a lot from Jordan, but to bring in another veteran who can not just stroke that root with the offense, just how beneficial can that be going into the spring?
I think it's beneficial for really everybody. I mean, DJ gets to see the way that we prepare, how we attack, add a little bit more football to his brain that's had a lot of football. 3 or 4 coordinators in his college experience right now. But at the same point, I mean, for the younger guys in the room, just to continue to see how somebody that's done it at a high level continues to go and prepare and get ready, whether it's for a practice, a meeting, or a game.
Obviously, there's different types of leaders. Just what kind of leadership traits do you see out of him?
I think the experience straight off the bat is something that, guys are going to gravitate to, or, they're going to lean on him. Just, hey, how did you see this? What's your opinion on this? What are your thoughts on this play or this type of footwork or whatever that is? Because, at the end of the day, I don't know how many snaps it is, but he's played a ton. And so, just that immediate value that he adds, I think, from the experience standpoint is huge.
Arm strength-wise, where does he rank among quarterbacks that you've coached?
Yeah, he's up there. He definitely can push the ball downfield. I know Coach spoke on it earlier, just the weapons that we're going to have on the perimeter, guys that are going to be able to stretch the field vertically for us. So I think it'll be a fun tool to have.
When you watch his film, just what other strengths do you think he has that can add to this offense?
Strength, arm talent. Obviously, he's a big quarterback, so there's that added dimension of durability. And he moves pretty well for a big guy. Short yardage should be pretty fun, too. So,
with the experience that Brock got last year, just what did you see from those moments that you liked, and what are some things that he can take from that to improve on?
I think that there was moments where something would happen earlier in a game or in practice, whatever that situation was, and he was able to go back and learn from it and not make repeated mistakes, which is something that any coach loves to see. And then just being able to get thrown into the fire a little bit. We practice with a high level of intensity intentionally to put our players in those types of situations, but it always moves a little bit faster on game day. So I think being able to get his feet wet will be a great experience for him.
I know coaches are kind of similar to players in the fact that they're always trying to learn and grow. Have you maybe learned anything from DJU? You mentioned all the coaches and coordinators that he's played for. Has he kind of taught you anything?
Sure. Just as we've kind of gone through early installs, I've just asked him how he's done things in the past. Not that any one way is right, but like you're saying, there's plenty that I can learn, and if I'm not learning, then I'm not doing my job either. So,
what have you seen from Luke early on in his time here and through the conditioning program?
Competitive. It's going to be fun. We haven't got to really get the ball out and throw with him yet, but just knowing the type of horsepower that he has, and he's going to juice it up a good bit. So it's going to be fun just working with him, just knowing just the skill set that he has, and then the intangibles. He's from a non-traditional quarterback background, I'd say. Dad was a linebacker. Luke himself played some safety, played receiver. So he's got some of that toughness about him that I think is critical at the position as well.
What kind of growth, maturity-wise, have you seen from Brock Glenn, and just how important is that heading into year 2 for him?
I think, it's interesting because, this time last year we talked about how Brock hit the ground running during tour duty, and he really hasn't pulled back at all. Was still out competing every single day. The way that he's prepared, trying to get extra work in, and trying to continue to establish himself with teammates in a leadership role. And I think that, for anybody, we talk about it in our room all the time. I got 6 guys, okay? All of them are going to lead in a different type of way, but you got to lead in a way that's most genuine to you, because your teammates are going to be the first people that are going to be able to see through that. And I think he's done a really good job with that this offseason.
What was kind of the last couple games like for him in terms of what you saw, just in terms of his growth and mindset?
Just for Brock?
Yeah, for Brock.
I think the experience. You've heard me talk about reps before. I mean, he's a guy that he missed significant time earlier in the season. I mean, he essentially practiced maybe a third of the season from what a normal freshman would practice, and so getting those practice reps back, getting those reps in bowl prep, and then I mean just getting thrown into the ACC championship game, and then obviously the bowl game. Those are invaluable experiences to play against that level of competition on that type of stage. I think it's something that's going to suit him well down the road.
How much do you think DJ Uiagalelei is going to be?
That was really good.
Oh, appreciate you.
That was really good.
How much do you think his legs are going to be utilized? I'm sure it's going to be a lot more than Drew Travis. Obviously, he's put a lot more weight on. As a quarterback's coach, is there any different type of approach in just kind of how you facilitate the quarterbacks with that in mind?
I think at the end of the day, it's our job, the offensive staff as a whole, just to be able to put our players in the best position to be successful. And if that means that we got to run them, if that means that we got to pull back on it, whatever that is, if that means we have to hand off the ball 50 times a game, we're going to hand off the ball 50 times a game. If that means that we got to throw it 50 times a game, we're going to throw it 50 times a game. So I really think it comes down to the who our people are and the who where we're going against, and just how it fits best that week schematically. I mean, ultimately, we just got to put our players in position to be successful.
What are kind of the keys to working him in to the position group? I mean, I'm sure Brock is probably looking at it as like bringing in somebody to take my job. How do you kind of handle that dynamic?
I think naturally, just program-wide for us, it's built off of competition and toughness, but at the same time, togetherness. We talk a lot in the quarterback room just about, I mentioned leadership earlier, and everybody being a leader in their own way, their own capacity. That goes with the relationships that you make in the room as well. DJ's going to learn from Brock. Brock's going to learn from DJ. All those guys have something that they can pick from each other. So, I mean, I think the more that we can be our own little team in the quarterback room, the more that helps.
Coach Norvell talked about DJ kind of coming in and earning the respect of the team. I know the last few months are not the time you're around the team the most relative to some other times, but how have you seen that from what you've seen of him, just how he does that naturally?
Sure. I mean, one thing is his approach. He obviously has a veteran mindset of, I mean, he's been around it. Being thrown into tour duty is something he's done before in some sense, but not like us. But I mean, so I think it's good for teammates to see guys not necessarily struggle, but guys have to push through and go through the same type of things that they've been through or they have to go through. And then again, I bring up experience. I mean, he's played a lot of football. He knows a lot of football. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of dialogue that can be had back and forth between him and other players of how he sees something. Just whatever we can do to be in the best position to succeed.
How did Brock handle the aftermath of the Orange Bowl?
Excuse me?
How did Brock handle kind of the aftermath of the Orange Bowl?
I think he was eager to get back to work. Very early on, him and I met and went through the game, and he just wants to learn. He wants to be better. He's done a great job just in his approach of what we talk about all the time in this program, and that's how can I be better today than I was yesterday. The 1% better mentality, those incremental gains, and I mean, he's done a really good job with that.
Looking at Luke, he was kind of the leader of the recruiting class, on social media, vocally. Has he carried that over now that he's officially on campus? And just what's your early impression?
Absolutely. I mean, Luke's got some charisma to him. I mean, like I said, he's built a little bit different for a quarterback. So, I mean, guys gravitate to that. The guys in his class, I think, definitely look at him. Cam Davis is another one that I think that has definitely carried over as we've gotten onto campus.
What